Serious. When you turned 18/moved out of your parents' house on your own, what were some life lessons you wish someone told you or warned you about being a grown-up or being out on your own, instead of just figuring it out? Don't sign a lease or any other contract without having read it and feel certain you can uphold your end of the deal. This is the best time of your life to be selfish. I know it sounds bad, but at this age you have to put yourself first and everyone else second. The only exception to this would be if you have a child, which I would advise you not to do that yet. I'm not advising you to be an asshole, but to walk away from things that don't work in your favor. Also, the biggest adjustment from teenagerhood to adulthood is realizing your time is now valuable and you can't run around spending time like it's counterfeit. Time spent enjoyably isn't wasted. I don't think this applies to most people, but I just personally didn't understand looking for a job. I didn't apply myself in anything near a reasonable way. I didn't look for work where I should have. I didn't think about what kind of field I should look for work in. Didn't even really know what kind of work I'd be good at. I didn't even know how to conduct myself for a job interview. So I guess my advice is, take some job hunting classes, do some mock interviews, and just try for different jobs, even if they don't quite sound like where you want to work. If you don't work a place for long before you find it isn't for you, you don't need to include it on your resume. At the very least, you'll learn a bit about yourself, and that can help you figure out what you need to do. I kind of wish my parents would have let me see the bills that they themselves had before I left the house, so I could actually see how paychecks and bills work. Also, I recommend keeping all of your documents in a safe place like a box or binder, and don't forget to get copies if you can. Place the two binders in separate locations just in case of a fire. If the light bulb in your refrigerator quits working, don't just assume it's a blown bulb and deal with it later. The question is something burning, and I wonder where that water is coming from should be answered immediately. Living on the top floor sucks. I should have helped my mom around the house more. Doing dishes suck. You have to remember to buy toilet paper, trash bags, etc. Houses get dirty seemingly out of nowhere for no reason. Rent is too expensive. But of all the things I learned, shit man, my parents did so much for me that I didn't know at the time. Always keep a paper trail: leases, contracts, employment, buying, selling things, etc. Get an email or text, some kind of written confirmation of the agreement and terms. You probably won't need them, but the few times you end up needing them, they can pull you out of the fire. Don't move out unless you absolutely have to. Getting your own place is an accomplishment, sure. However, if you can take advantage of living at home, investing and not going into debt right at the start of your adult life, you'll be in a better place 10 years down the road. I knew some guys who went from making $8 an hour working fast food to like $14 doing light manufacturing right after high school, and they thought they were rolling in money. No real responsibilities yet, having fun with more money than they'd ever had. Then they had some kids, wanted to have slightly more real adult lives, etc., and realized that they hadn't set themselves up to ever make more than $30,000. Don't go to college unless you're certain you love that subject or degree. I wasted a lot of time going to school and changed my mind so many times. Basically, I could have graduated with 2 degrees, and I gained a ton of weight from stress eating. Take it slow, find what you love and then do it. Buy a first aid kit, fire extinguisher, and plunger as soon as possible. It is far better to have these things and never use them than suddenly realize you don't have them when needed. Make a copy of your front door key and give it to someone you trust who doesn't live with you, such as a family member or friend, preferably someone who lives close, but not explicitly lives with you. so that you can simply go to them to get back into your place should you get locked out. A $5 key is cheaper than a $150 locksmith. Always have at least one meal in your freezer you can cook straight from frozen, even if it's just a shitty frozen pizza. For those times when you will inevitably forget to have food ready and have no opportunity, short of an otherwise expensive takeaway, to eat anything else. Maintain a shopping list throughout the week. Every time you empty something that's a household staple, for example ketchup, write it down, and take the list with you when you go shopping. It's far easier to get what's on a list than walk around a supermarket and remember you ran out of Zizz. It's not worth starving to save an extra $5. I made the mistake of moving from a small town to the Bay Area and was super tight on money. My family has always struggled with money and I always tried to save every penny I possibly could. Sometimes I would be starving and didn't want to spend $5 for a Taco Bell meal. It's not worth it. Eat. It's okay to spend money on things you need. If you move out with roommates, please make sure you all at least have similar schedules. I had to wake up at 7 a.m. for work all day till 4 or 5, then I'd go to bed at 10. But my roommate didn't wake up until 12 p.m., would go to work, then go to bed anywhere from 12 am to 3 am. Very hard to fall asleep and stay asleep while next room over someone's making noise. Learn to budget for everything from groceries to gas. You'll save money, and when money gets tight, it's easier to see where to trim the excess spending. Buy the expensive option once, get the cheap alternative and buy it repeatedly. Example: yes, these bed sheets are 20.00, but they are made from non-breathable material which will cause you to get a skin fungus, sweat to death each night, and will never wash nicely. Buy the 50.00 sheets. But be smart, always check the sales rack. I promise, those 50.00 sheets will be 15.99 and feel even softer. No one is doing the math. Just say you aren't coming into work and don't elaborate on why. Do not let anyone disrespect you. You are worthy of respect because you expect to be respected. That's the only damn reason you need. Example: no, that's clear as fuck. Don't let people treat you like shit. Do not let people make excuses to further bad behavior. Example: I understand you have resting bitch voice. Do not speak rudely to me, Sandra, or I will not speak with you. Make good, trustworthy friends and or strengthen your familial bonds. Life is harder when you don't have a backup squad to help you out. Fact: you will need a bailout because life is crazy like that. Did you make a bunch of stoner friends who never have 2 nickels to rub together, or friends who lived in the local jail and have zero credibility? Or did you make friends who have real jobs, live honest mostly lives, and have the means to answer the call to arms if you really need it? Be brave. Whatever it is you want to do, just do it. Be aware of the risks, but make a plan to minimize them and give it your best shot. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Example: you always wanted to be an artist but you broke off. That's okay. Look for opportunities you can afford to participate in, like craft fairs, non-profit organizations, and so forth. No one might buy your stuff at first, but you have the chance to make friends, learn tricks of the trade, and learn new skills. Lastly, set your bills on auto pay the day you can afford to do so. Start saving money now. Cost of living is more than rent and utilities, food, personal hygiene, kitchen supplies, cleaning supplies, entertainment, etc. are all part of your monthly expenses. Beyond this, there are intermittent expenses such as something breaking and needing replacement. A saving account for emergencies is a must. Do not loan anyone money or any item, unless you are okay with the possibility of never getting it back. Avoid debt. If you can't pay cash, you can't afford it. The exception is buying a house, as it will appreciate in value in most cases. Learn the difference between want and need. You will want things you don't need and need things you won't want. Learn to identify this and save a bundle. Learn to cook. It's cheaper than eating out. You can eat healthier, and it can be fun. Learn how to properly wash clothes. It will make them last longer. Seriously, if you're 18 seconds old, you're still young. Hence, do not rush to be successful or rich or whatever it is you think to make you look cooler in front of other people. Be a better person. Be a better you than the day before. Always strive to be a better you than the day before. Be a kind person. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Kind does not mean you can be downtrodden. Don't get me wrong. Kind people are always the strongest. Buy things that is really necessary first, then buy things for your own enjoyment, not buying things to impress others. Good friends are hard to find, so find them good and hard. One good friend worth 1,000 social media friends. Do not shy to hustle. No, OFC not. I do not mean sell drugs or anything related. Hustle anything that interests you. Yes, it is not obvious. At first you will not know what is your interest, but in time it will. Be prudent in your spending. I mean, for oneself, be really prudent, but always set aside generous amount that your heart can take to give to families, loved ones and the poor, charities or the kind of it. Trust me. Wealth in the heart worth more than any amount of money in the world. If anything to go by, always be a better you than the day before. A better you will always attract better outcomes, whatever it is. If you are going to take drugs, research them first. Determine proper dosing and surroundings to be in, as well as if your family has medical history with mental illness, especially with psychedelics. A bad trip can really set you off course, when you should be having fun and setting the foundation for a successful future. Your decisions now, good or bad, will follow you later in life. You may feel invincible now, but your shit posture, playing games on the floor because you're too poor for furniture, and your crappy diet will bite you when you're in your late 30s. Take care of yourself now, and you'll have less pain, stress and anxieties later. I was not prepared for the costs of supporting myself outside of rent and utilities. When I decided to move out of my parents' house at 18, being able to pay my bills was my main concern, but I was moving out of a household in which my parents provided all of the food, all of the toiletries and all of the little odds and ends required to live, that kids take for granted. Sure, my bills were paid on time, but it was not easy to feed myself after buying soap, shampoo, conditioner, cleaning supplies, dish and laundry detergent, bleach, toilet paper and paper towels. All of these and more are recurring costs that I was just not prepared for. Decide what your priorities are: financial, life, personal, you name it. Someone down thread mentioned living as cheaply as possible, including having roommates. For me, as an introvert, the vast majority of roommates are draining and awful. Even the ones I got along well with had bad habits like not doing dishes for 2 weeks. So my priority is no roommates, but that means I have to save in other areas. Maybe I eat out less or buy fewer used clothes. As an adult, you can have the world, but only a piece of the world. Everyone has different priorities. What I need most for my happiness might be the opposite of what you need, and that's okay. Get things in writing, whether that be an apartment lease, an agreement with roommates or a promise of a raise at a job. That way when there is a misunderstanding you can go back to what you both agreed upon. It will save you money and heartache. Financially, try to keep your monthly expenses low, in order to have money to spend. Other important parts of your life: get roommates, cheap car, cook at home instead of fast food, low phone plan, Mint has $15/mo plans and they are owned by Ryan Reynolds, so win-win. Don't worry about buying nice furniture if you can't pay cash for it, because chances are by the time you want to have your own place you will want a different style anyway. If you aren't naturally a saver, do your best to put $1,000 in a savings account and don't touch it unless you have an emergency. You will have much more peace of mind than if you put emergencies on your credit card. That being said, get out, stay out of debt as fast as possible. There are many budgeting tools to help if needed. As far as regular bills go, try to set everything up online auto pay. You can pick which day of the month you want them to be paid. So pay rent on the 1st and rest of bills on the 15th. That way you won't run out of grocery money in between. That being said, if you can't pay a bill, call the utility company and ask them what you can do. They may delay payment until you get paid next. This is better than getting things turned off. Don't worry about buying things you can't afford just because it looks like everyone else can. Chances are they are in debt, which is a normal, but life-draining way to live. Jobs. You have permission to find a new job if it's draining your mental health. There is always another option even if you can't see it right away. A lot of skills are transferable. Have a good work ethic. Be kind. Show up on time for your shift. Do what you are responsible for and you will be okay. Ask questions. Be curious. You may learn a lot about how to grow as a person by those who are more experienced. You don't have to have a job that is your passion. Sometimes a job really just is a way to pay for the rest of your life for that season. If that's the case, find joy in your hobbies, friends in your life outside of work, community/friendships. Not everyone will be your friend, but you will find some good ones. Unlike high school, you are more able to choose your friends. Some of my best friends I met through work or were friends of friends. It's true that some friendships will fade and it's hard, but you will find friends who will connect you where you are in life. Sometimes it's okay to just walk away from a friendship gone sour. It sucks, and even as an adult feelings can get hurt or you may feel like you can't be your real self around them. Be open to meeting new people. Even if you are an introvert, smile. It can be a bit intimidating, but there are a lot of great people out there. Also, don't feel like you have to hide your interests. The best bonding times are over silly things that I used to like in junior high or a favorite band growing up. It's way fun to find out someone else likes the same weird thing you do. Life. There will be ups and downs. You move through them like seasons of a year. Some are like a really hard winter when it's hard to believe flowers will ever grow. And then before you know it, things change and they appear. Lean on your support system in the good and the bad. Things will change. They always do. Learn some good mental health methods to steady yourself and keep moving forward. Don't underestimate the power of a good meal and a nap. On that note, sleep and at least eat regularly. It will make a world of difference in your energy levels and mental levels. All in all, learn, keep asking questions. If you get stuck, ask for help. Everyone is figuring this out as we go, and there is no glorious moment when you arrive and have things figured out. I would love to go back to when I was 18 and tell myself everything I know now. I'd tell him not to go to college at all because it got me nothing but tremendous debt. I'd tell him to focus on his hobbies and to learn a certain set of skills that I currently use while he's still working at his job. I'd tell him about the concept of job markets being suddenly oversaturated, making my special talents completely worthless because there are a million people who can do it better and faster when just a couple of years before you actually stood out. I don't think young me would accept what I'd have to tell him. Which is letting his dreams die and finding more realistic ones that still won't make him happy. So it probably doesn't matter if someone told me everything or not. I had this crazy idea that I could be and do anything I put my mind to and everything would turn out fine. It would take literal time travel from my future self and explaining how the world changes to convince me. If I implied that it was mostly my fault, past me probably wouldn't hear it. The easiest things to regularly splurge on tend to be the easiest things to do yourself. like take out coffee, have a nice meal, drink, dance and play music, etc. etc. The easiest way to save money is to cut these things out short-term and slowly reintroduce them as rewards of financial stability. Well, there's a lot. Maybe, don't get sucked into other people's drama, know your boundaries, don't sweat the small stuff, know when to cut your losses and walk away. Don't be afraid to ask for help, but don't trust people blindly either. A more urban sensibility would have been a good thing to be exposed to, but I was from a fringe part of the world, so my parents did the best they could, I guess.